Morning, buddy. How are you?
I'm doing well. Good morning to all you guys.
We missed Catfish Town, bro. Very much. What was your best National Signing Day bash story? You didn't know it as Catfish Town. I guess you knew it as the Atrium.
They were at so I guess I got to college in '04,
Okay.
and that was my first year going to the bash. So that must have been was that at the Bell? Was that in the Atrium at the Bell back then?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
I guess I can remember then when that was one of the years where they found like Brandon LaFell and Perilou, and everyone cared so much about Perilou. So that would have been like '05, '04, and that was my first introduction to the bash. But I do remember this in college. I went to the bash, and Jai Eugene, which is crazy because now Jai Eugene, his son, is a recruit over at Destrehan, and I've done articles on him. It was my first father-son article update from when Dad was 18, and now the kid's 16, growing up now. But he stayed home instead of going to Michigan, and it was because he was about to have a son, and ends up coming to the bash. And I think even then he was waving, like everyone who knows Jay, he was waving the towel the whole time, already just in training. And I got him to, like, jokingly but probably serious, considering I was 18, got him to, like, sign my arm and told him, like, what a legend he was for staying home. So, yeah, there's my Shea the fan, as Hunt would break it down. Move of the bash.
I missed the bash, bro. Do you think that the bash could?
Man.
Oh God, I missed the bash. Do you think that it could ever get back to its prime, like on a December signing day? I mean, could you recreate that day in December and make it as magical as it was years ago?
That's what everybody said, right? Like now it's a split signing day that it takes all the bang out of February signing day. I had a buddy text me last night, and he's like, "Could you imagine if we were just drinking, small Dixie cup beers all day tomorrow and doing Taste the Tiger tailgate and all that?" I was like, bro, those were the days. Those were the days. So, yes, but I missed the bash. Hopefully someone out there is listening, and I don't know who, Ragu, who's out there, but yes, we've got to bring it. There you go. We've got to bring it back around at some point. I'm not sure if it can exist again in the double signing day era, but if it did, it would have to be December, I would guess.
Today feels like a day that would be great at the bash because there's so much intrigue and interest on what's going to happen for LSU, and it starts early. It starts before lunch with Trevante Citizen making his announcement on ESPN. So, Shea, let's start there. LSU's got a big four that I kind of look at today. I think it's Trevante Citizen, Harold Perkins, obviously with him over the last couple of days and his recruitment picking up. Danny Lewis, the tight end from Westgate, and then, of course, Jacoby Matthews, the safety from Ponchatoula. Let's start with Citizen. He announces first. Where is LSU trending on the running back out of Lake Charles, and what do you see the announcement looking like at 11 o'clock this morning?
I think that it's trending towards out of state. And I think that if we took a step back and looked at it, it might have been that way for a bit. His coach gave some quotes yesterday that said, look, after LSU had their wholesale staff change in December, and that was when he was committed to LSU, and that had been about 6 months to that point, that he started to really look at other schools, and Auburn was a school that was trending. Well, Auburn's OC's left, and there's uncertainty there, so people thought, okay, this could open the door for LSU to really be able to close here. But it seems to me that he's leaning towards Florida. I think that he's just sort of had an eye on out of state once that staff the staff shakeup ended up happening, and he decommits, and I think that really opened the door for him to look around. And gosh, he smashed visits to LSU, Auburn, Florida, and Miami into like a 12-day span. So he was taking a ton in at the end. I think that between Jaluk and those guys having a connection there, them having a need at running back, I'm sort of leaning that way. So that's where my pick is. We'll see if I'm right or wrong, but my guess is that he picks Florida.
So then coming up next would be Danny Lewis, the tight end from Westgate. Lewis had an explosive senior season, really busted onto the scene. And I know that there's a big-time safety at Westgate, too, that everybody's trying to get in on. That's an underclassman. Is it Derek Johnson?
Derek Williams.
Derek Williams. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Derek Williams, the safety. Thank you, Stewie. Where is the recruitment heading right now for Danny Lewis, who is expected to announce at 1:00?
Yeah, I've been 50-50 here. Well, and he's got 3 teams in the mix: Florida, LSU, Bama. I think this is really just LSU, Bama. I look back, all 3 of the teams offered him the same week, which is about mid-January, and then they immediately all got him in for a visit, so with his parents. And I think a lot of these guys, this is the theme of it, but he fit 3 visits into like 10 days. He did a midweek visit. Gosh, less than that, 7 days. He went to Bama midweek at LSU and then finished things up at Florida. I think LSU and Bama have done the best job here. Everyone's a bit late to the game, so you're having to kind of play catch up here at the very end. But I think him going to Bama first kind of set the tone, and everybody else had to chase it from there. I didn't ever make any picks here, and the kid is super quiet. Anyone who knows Danny will tell you that. You would not guess that by his TikTok trending going to 9 million views, but a quiet kid and tough to read. So yeah. I would guess maybe a slight edge on Bama, and maybe I'm saying that because a lot of Bama LSU battles at the end, when you're unsure of where it's going to go, might mean it's probably going to go the other way. So I'm leaning Bama, but again, I'm not 100% confident, and it'll be interesting to see. I mean, if he ends up at the Tide, it stings. You're going to need to then take that scholarship spot and go spend it in the portal on the tight end, because you only return one guy in Cole Taylor on scholarship. So you signed one in Mason Taylor in December. I know they want to find a tight end out there who's experienced in the portal, even if they do get Danny Lewis. I think they would still try to go get a tight end. But if you miss on him today, it's really all the more paramount that you find somebody out there this spring that can come in and maybe give you a little depth and help out in the blocking game.
3:30 this afternoon, Harold Perkins is going to make his announcement on CBS. This is going to be wild, right?
Oh my gosh.
This better be must-watch TV. I'm expecting Uncle Al, Uncle Kev, everybody shades, hats on. No. Harold Perkins, what's it going to be, Shay? This is going to be a monumental announcement, right?
I need Lloyd. Lloyd, drive over to the crib and slap me right now. Am I really going to say that beyond Davis Robinson here in an hour, Waxahachie cornerback, who I think is going to pop for LSU and get the dominoes going, that's a big position of need. They need corners. But am I really going to say I maybe feel the second best about Harold Perkins?
Wow.
That would be unbelievable,
wow.
Shay.
I used to say that I didn't even want to touch it.
Zach Evans 2.0.
I'm not going to comment. And maybe this could still go anyway. And maybe I'm just getting to the point of the process where I've been covering whether it was coaching changes or kids leaving or the portal or December signing day, and maybe I'm just run up against the wall. So I'm willing to give a little more risk to my picks than maybe normal. But
crystal ball it.
I did.
Let's go, dude.
I think LSU.
Wow. Uncle Al, Uncle Kev, we got to sit next to him.
That's my opinion. We'll see. I know that A&M's still involved here. You've got Florida still involved here. Oh. People are throwing out rumors left and right, which is what's going to happen with 5 stars over the past couple of weeks of saying, is this Deion's big splash that he can make it the second signing day? I think when it comes down to it, it's a family that's largely based out of New Orleans or New Orleans natives. We've always seen Harold around LSU. The kid would wear gloves to games, and I think if we look back at it, and he gives them the final visit of the recruiting process and brings us whole family. If we look back and he picks LSU, I think we could point to a lot of times where we said, man, well, he certainly appeared to be into LSU. He would be around all the time and sort of everything I just mentioned. So I think that's the direction this one's going, but it's Harold Perkins, so it's a bit of a guess as well. But I'm willing to stick my neck out there. I'll ride with it. It's signing day. Let's have some fun.
Let's go.
That a boy. If you are right and your crystal ball is correct, and LSU gets Harold Perkins, but only Harold Perkins today, is that still a win for LSU recruiting to get a massive 5-star like that with the new coach in town and what they kind of had to do through the transfer portal? If you even get one of these guys, does that still feel like a win for you?
Well, I'd say this. I'd say that we'll see what happens with Jacoby Matthews at 6, and you don't ever want to – and they're in a battle. I can tell you they are in a battle with A&M right now, and you don't want to lose the top uncommitted player in the state to an SEC
Perkins
West
does not
rival.
feel like A&M.
Matthews, I'm saying. Matthews.
Okay, Jacoby.
Yeah, so Jacoby at 6, we'll see what happens there. You just don't want to lose the state's top uncommitted player at this point. someone you've been recruiting for years as a program, obviously, to a school like A&M that's got to play every year. So, and certainly recruit against all the time. I've been, maybe just a slight edge to LSU, and I've sort of stayed there, but I want to see how the whole day goes. But if you pop Perkins, if you're popping a 5-star number 1 linebacker that everyone said will be impossible for someone to get and feel good about, yes, then that can help make a signing day. I'll put it this way, and I think they're going to get Davis Robinson, as I said. So I think that 2 or 3, maybe, and that's half the group, is about what I would expect or shoot for and call realistic. Yeah, no, I did not say that, and that I would call realistic today. But here's the reality of it: is you're dealing with a whole coaching staff that's brand new. So beyond Brad Davis, and he signed all of his offensive linemen already. So everyone's now having to play and basically fit 2 years. And this is how one coach put it to me. He's not even on the LSU staff. He's on another staff. Said, hey, look, you got to remember with LSU right now, they're fitting 2 years worth of recruiting into a month. And that's tough. You don't know the ins and outs of every little recruitment like you would had you been on these kids all along as a staff. And because of that, you're not expected to go out there and just absolutely clean up on signing day. But what you are expected to do is in December, close strong. And the guys that Owen and them had committed that were willing to stick with you through the coaching change and stick with the program, get them in. And they did that. Walker Howard, Campbell, Emory Jones, Tolan, all those guys. So you got 13 in. Well, you're not about to go out at the next signing day and load up on another 13 guys that you're going to feel great about. So you had to hit the portal. And every kid they had in on a visit committed to them. They had a number of kids commit to them that weren't on visits, that just kind of said, hey, look, I hear the pitch. I see the need for depth or I see the depth issues and the need for me. I'm in. But ultimately they get 12 guys via that route and touched on every position. Some of them, line, corner, they took multiple guys, but every position, if you want to include Brennan coming back out of the portal, except tight end and kickers. So they've got a true freshman kicker in Dybert coming in. I still think tight end's a worry spot for me, so I'm expecting them to go out there in the portal and try to get a guy or two. But the reality is you combine those two things in an era right now, and I know a lot of the conversations coaches are having over these. This is not just LSU. This is everybody. All these big schools over these final 48 hours aren't like the ones you've always had and are used to it involving NIL deals. And, what's out there for me? What does y'all school have? And obviously schools can't always address that publicly, at least directly, but that's stuff you're having to balance now, which was, and that was not even there before, let alone just some sort of unknown, which is what it's become right now. It makes it a lot tougher to predict. I'm eager to see how the dominoes kind of fall today, and then we get into the 2023 class and start to look ahead. And then I think we'll really get a feel for how do these schools balance recruiting kids and NIL and everything like that. It'll be interesting. I think that coaches are having to do a lot of this learning here on the fly.
How many of these conversations are coming down to NIL over the past 72 hours for all recruiters?
For big name kids, I think a number of them are. And I don't know if that's like I don't know if you're calling it like a money grab or something, but I think it's right now all these kids and parents are saying, hey, look, I'm seeing this in the news every day. What does it mean? Educate me on it. That's what a parent would say. And I know that, for instance, LSU and these other schools, they'll have presentations where they educate you on it. And this is how it works. And we don't facilitate it. You'll have these opportunities through other people. And we've seen, obviously, a guy like Gordon has headlined that push across multiple sports at LSU. So I know behind the scenes they're trying to come together and really figure out the best way to approach this. And it's not just Gordon out there, getting it done or being the face of it. And I think that will come with a little time. But it is, Jordy. There's a number of conversations I think are out there happening. And that's typical for signing day. We aren't acting like this, just happened yesterday. I think, it was Jimbo who said it on record jokingly. In fact, I think he said it with Josh Pate on a 24/7 signing day show in December. Jimbo said, well, this kind of conversations have always happened. It's just above the table now. So I think that it's not something you've never dealt with a fan. You've never dealt with before, but it makes it a lot different right now. And these kids are curious of hey, what can I get when I get there? What opportunities are there for me when I get there? And as a coaching staff, you're saying, hey, look, we just got here a month ago. We're trying to figure that out as well. So I think there's a bit of that right now.
And Florida seems to be making a push on NIL, right? I think A&M's getting a lot of the coverage and a lot of the hype. But for Florida to be making these last pushes on a lot of guys, not just the Louisiana guys that they're in on, it seems like they've got some NIL stuff that's brewing as well.
I think every school is, when you're talking the who's who of schools, and I think they have to, right? And you've got to find ways to get creative or whatever it might be. But we'll see as whether it's legislation or just how schools approach it. But they'll figure it out over these next, year and into the cycle after that. But right now it's so fresh that hell, you've got Lane Kiffin calling out A&M for paying all their players, right. Which is, and I feel terrible for Lane. He's in Oxford, and they've never been able to pay players to go there. So that's obviously rough for him. I mean, I thought that was comical that Ole Miss of all people is complaining about
they're
paying
cheating.
A bunch of guys. Yeah. Lane was like, we've never seen that type of class before at A&M. I said, I've said that before about Ole Miss, and that's why you're there now, Lane. But that's kind of where we're going. Is there, even these coaches are saying, hey, look, there's the have-nots and the haves, and it's making it unfair for us. And
Robert Kim.
I'm curious to see how all of this plays out ultimately. But yes, Florida, Bama, A&M, LSU, you name the school, Ole Miss, they're going to have to, organize themselves and be able to approach this in a way where you may not love it, but you've got to learn to, because it's here to stay, at least for the time being.
Shea Dixon, Go 247, a very busy day. Make sure you follow him on Twitter at Shea Dixon.
Way, dude.
Is where you get him on the on social media and keep up with what's happening today. Any news on Matt House being on the recruiting trail? Any impact that the new defensive coordinator has made, or is what type of recruiter he is?
Well, I'll tell you this. Here's a good tidbit. This past weekend when they were at prepping for Joey B, right, getting ready to play for a conference championship, and House, for those who don't know, is LSU's defensive coordinator, but he's been a linebackers coach with the Chiefs, so he stayed on with them through the playoffs. Well, on Saturday, he's on Zoom going through position breakdowns and film breakdowns with Harold Perkins about, here's how I'm going to use you at linebacker. Here's my scheme. This is what, guys I've had, whether in the NFL or in college at places like Kentucky, and how you would be used in a role similar to that. And I know Perkins' mom said they were pretty impressed by that. So that was, that he took the time out to do it. Not only that, but that he was very detailed with the plan. And I think he's been trying to help out as much as he can in ways like that, while he was with the Chiefs. But now that their season's done, he'll be down here this month, and that's the whole staff will be complete, and he'll be able to do all of his recruiting in person. But I did think that was cool, is that, gosh, I can only imagine if when you're prepping for Joe Burrow, I'd imagine I would tell folks, I ain't got no time for no Zoom, nothing. But it sounds like he said, look, you got a 5-star needs to talk to me. I can carve out some time.
What is your schedule today? What is today like for you?
Well, we've got in about an hour the Jalen Davis Robinson out of Waxahachie, so I'll be watching that one, and then a little bit of a break till 11, watch Citizen, and then just kind of all in this afternoon trying to work the phone lines, because between noon-ish, 1 o'clock, when all those kind of
all the way to 6 p.m. for you, dude.
Yeah, all the way to 6 p.m. is going to be a solid stretch, and then you sprinkle a little 3:30 Harold Perkins into that, and I get a feeling I'm going to have quite the entertaining day ahead of me. Whether that's good or bad, TBD. Just stay tuned.
Any windshield time for you? You tracking any of these in person? You going down to Matthews and Ponchatoula, or you taking it all in from Baton Rouge?
I've sent Sunday to Ponchatoula tonight. I'm hunkered down at the desk. I'm the Lloyd of the operation today. I'm making sure everything's running correctly behind the scenes. Stories are going up. The social media is taken care of. So yes, I'm the behind the scenes glue. I'm a glue guy today. Behind the scenes glue guy.
Don't overwork yourself like Lloyd did. He busted a couple of
busted in the bathroom
this morning, then puked this morning. So. Maybe overworking our guy here a little bit. Maybe
is he that nervous about Harold?
That's what it is.
Exactly right.
Wait, Shea, when you mention Harold Perkins, do you think we get an Isaiah Crowell situation where he breaks out like maybe some sort of
like a tiger?
Yeah, Isaiah Crowell brought the bulldog. So I would imagine Harold Perkins would be in this vein.
for people that don't know what you're talking about, they need to Google it. That's actually one of my favorite signing day announcements because Kroll pulls out the bulldog and everyone's like, "Oh my God, it's so cute!" And the reporter's like, "What's its name?" And he goes, "I don't even know. It's not mine."
It was like
somebody
a real
take
bulldog?
this dog. Yes.
Like a real
Whose
puppy?
dog is this?
I thought you meant like a stuffed
That was
dog.
the original NIL.
That's funny.
Yeah,
You get a dog.
I have no idea. It's not my dog.
Shea, have a great day, buddy. Thank you for the time and the information.
All right, I'll see you guys.